Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Exile Living. Today, we're going to be making ground turkey with gravy and rice. Let's get started. First thing we're going to do is put 6.5 cups of water into this big pot. So, with the water on hot, we fill this up. Turn the water off so we don't waste it. And then we put it in the pot right here on the counter. We don't go all the way across to the stove. Put the pot right here. I already put 6.5 in there. So now we're gonna add 3 cups of rice. So we take the rice here. We have our 1 cup measuring cup, and then we're gonna fill it up with a cup of rice, right? And then we want that cup of rice to be level, just like this. That's a level cup of rice. Before we put our rice into the pot, we're gonna wash it off. So put your 3 cups into a strainer, just like this. This is 1 cup. We're gonna add 2 more, the same way. So once you have your 3 cups of rice in here, make sure that you have this pot over here on high, because we want the water to get ready to start boiling. Just make sure that the flames aren't coming off the side and burning the handle. Alright, so we got our rice in our strainer. With hot water, we're going to just run water over the rice. Put your clean finger in there and move the water around so we can wash it off. Watch it, look in the rice just to make sure you don't see anything black, because sometimes just from the farm where they produce the rice or whatever, there's bugs that get into the rice. That's normal. Just take them out. See, this rice right here has a darker tip to it. I thought it was a bug, but I got a good eye. Anyways, run your finger through there and rinse that rice off. Once you've gotten it good and rinsed off, then we're gonna put it into our pot. I'm shaking it off so it doesn't drip water everywhere. Then we're gonna add it to our hot water that's starting to boil. Alright. So, since the bottom of the pot is really hot, you're gonna wanna stir every so often, okay? So that way the rice doesn't burn and start to stick to the bottom. Basically, now we're just gonna watch this until it starts to boil. But we don't want to lose our water. We don't want our water going evaporating and then not going into our rice. So we're gonna cover this up. Put a lid on that pot, just like this, and then keep an eye on it so you can see when it starts to boil. Because once you see it start to boil, we're gonna turn it way down, put it on a smaller eye so it just simmers until all of the water is evaporated. So keep an eye on this. In the meantime, get a pan to cook your meat. That was really fast. It started to boil already. You see it in there boiling? Now's the time, since this flame is too big, to move this back to a smaller flame back here. So we'll turn on the smaller flame, and we're going to put it on nice and low. We want this to barely boil. Then we'll slide this pot back there, and then make sure that it's at just a real soft boil. Nothing too crazy. Stir it some so that way the rice doesn't clump up or stick to the bottom. And then we'll just keep an eye on it. We just want a little, barely a little simmer in there. Nothing too crazy. Alright, now we got our pan. We're going to put our ground turkey into this pan. Now this is raw meat. It has a lot of bacteria in it, so we're not going to use the same spatula that we use for the rice for this. We're going to get a different spatula and then put it into the pan. You kind of want a bigger pan, or even like a big pot like that, because you want to be able to stir this up without it spilling everywhere. But we don't have another big pot like that one, so we're gonna have to just settle with this pan. Now when you're done with this, the container that the meat came in, you want to put it in a plastic bag and then just dump it outside, because this is gonna start molding and rotting and really smelling bad. You don't want the house smelling bad. So anything like this, raw meat, we bag it up, put it in the trash outside. So we're gonna turn this flame on. And you could kind of put it on high, and then if it starts cooking too fast and you can't keep up with the stirring, then you'll turn it down. But I put it on high, and now I'm just kind of breaking this meat up. Of course, it's cooking on the bottom of the pan. So as one side starts to cook, you'll want to kind of flip it over so the other side can cook like that. Keep on breaking it up, chopping it up, stirring it, flipping it until there's no more pink and it's all brown. Same thing. Make sure that your flame isn't burning the handle. Like that, you can clearly see it's already been burnt quite a bit. So it's starting to turn brown. There's still some pinkness there, so we're still not quite done yet. But as we cook, we're just getting the part that cooked on the bottom and we're flipping it over. See how that's cooked down on the bottom? Then we break it up. Break it on up. We don't want any big chunks. And just keep on kind of doing that. Taking it, putting the cooked side up, raw side down, and keep breaking it up. Okay, now it's all pretty much brown, so we're going to go ahead and turn the flame off, and then we'll season it. Don't forget to check on your rice, make sure it's not boiling too hard, and stir it up as well. When you stir it, you don't want any rice sticking up, you kind of want it all just sitting in the water. Alright, so what I'm going to season the meat with is garlic powder. I find that this meat is not like very sensitive to seasoning. Onion powder, so you can put a good amount and it's not gonna like ruin it, mess everything up. You'll be fine. Italian seasoning, salt, pepper. And then stir it up. Now, I did not drain this meat because I'm gonna make gravy. And gravy, even though you add broth to it, it still, I think, is like better with actual juice from meat. So for the first time ever, I'm not draining this or rinsing it off like I normally do, because we kind of do want some of that juice from the meat. So I'm gonna leave it in there and see how it turns out. A lot of times that juice is where the fat and stuff that's not good for your heart is. So it's better to just cut it out where you can. Then you taste it and see if it needs anything extra. Tastes like water. Has no flavor at all. And it doesn't have to be extremely flavorful, honestly, because a lot of the flavor is going to come from the gravy. But I just want the meat to have something to it. So I'm going to season it again. All the same seasonings. You don't want to be a wild seasoner like me and then you have a big mess to clean up afterwards, but when we taste anything, before we use that spoon again, we clean it with soap and water every single time, because the germs on this spoon don't belong in the food for the house. Every time. So I tasted it again, and it has enough flavor to be good for now. We're not gonna trip off it just being jam-packed with flavor, because like I said, a lot of the flavor is gonna come from the gravy, which we're gonna make now. Before we start the gravy, I see that most of the water is gone on the rice, so I'm gonna take the lid off now, just so the little bit of water that's left can come out of the rice, and we don't have mushy, wet rice. And I'm gonna turn this down as low as I can. Just barely anything going under there. And just let the rest of that steam come off of there. So, first part for the gravy is we're going to chop up a little bit of an onion. If you have a food processor, you could just use that. It'll be a lot easier than doing this by hand. I don't have the food processor with me right now, so I'm going to do it by hand. What I did was I cut the ends of the onion off. And then now I'm going to cut it in half like this. Then I'll take this outer skin off. And I might just take a whole layer of the onion off, and that's okay. Then I'm gonna make some small cuts going this way towards that little rainbow. So we're cutting towards the rainbow. Okay, and then just a disclaimer, I don't know what I'm doing, because I normally just use a processor. Alright, I used to have a whole different technique, but I'm trying to do this a different way. Then we're going to go on the rainbow side. There's a rainbow over here and over here. And then we're just, let me see if I can do this so you can see. And then we're going to just chop it as small as we can. Small, small, small. These are going to be some pretty big pieces because I'm not a pro at this. And we're just gonna use half an onion. We probably don't even need all that. Yeah, don't laugh at me. Don't make fun of me. I'm not an onion chopper. I really could use some growing in this onion chopping area. There's onions on the floor, onions on the counter. Oh, more onions on the floor. Whatever. Just get them as small as you can. Ask somebody how to cut onions that knows how to do it. Watch a YouTube video on how to cut an onion real small, or use a processor, okay? I'm just making it work for now. This is plenty onion. A little bit too much, honestly. Because the onion can overpower the gravy. Alright, so I put the meat in a Tupperware container, and then we're going to use this same pan. And before we add the onion, we're going to add some butter. Now I have this butter. It's supposedly real butter, and that's supposed to be better. I don't know, but we're just going to do it just in case. Do it the right way. Better safe than sorry. I am actually crying a little bit from these onions. My eyes are watering. So I'm trying to multitask. But anyways, I'm going to put about one full stick of butter. This is like 2 sticks. So I'm going to put a little bit, just a touch more than half of this into the pot, the pan. Then we're going to go ahead and turn our eye on. I think that we're going to, not all the way on high, but just like a medium. just to get our butter to melt. We're gonna melt the butter. This honestly might be way too much butter. We're gonna find out. And if we have to take some out, we'll just take it out. We don't wanna overdo the butter. But we're gonna just keep going with this and let it melt some. Oh yeah, I can tell already this is too much. Alright, this to me looks like enough butter, so we're going to take this extra out. We didn't need that much. Put it back over here for now. Alright, keep this low, fairly low. And then we're going to add our onions in, or at least some of our onions, not quite all of them. These onions are so big. Really, you don't want them this big. But we're going to cook our onions in the butter for a while just to soften them up. You don't want this too high. It looks like there's no more steam coming up from the rice, so the rice is done. We're going to turn it off and then cover it up. Alright, so yeah, we're going to cook these onions up. Use a processor because you don't want your onions this big. These are way too big. We're just going to work with it. Just keep stirring for at least about 5 minutes. Alright, and then once your onions have softened up, keep the heat low. You want to add a few big spoonfuls of flour. And stir that up. Now, we're going to add some beef broth to this. And then as you add the broth, you're going to watch for the gravy to become the consistency that you want it to become. Now you want to stir up while you add it, but I'm holding the camera, so I'm going to kind of multitask. But you can tell that this is still really thick, so we're going to add a lot more broth before this starts burning up. Stir up those clumps because we don't want to keep clumps in there. Break those clumps down. And still for me has a little bit too much thickness going on. So we're going to add more broth. Just keep adding until we get it to the thickness that we want it to be. It's not cooking at all, so I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit. Break those clumps up. This is looking a little bit more like the consistency that I want it to be. And I believe that as it sizzles and simmers some more, that it's going to get a little bit thicker as well. So, now that we have our broth added, we're going to season this with the same seasonings that we seasoned the meat with. Garlic powder. Onion powder. You don't want it to burn, so you see it sizzling. Make sure you stir it up some, and then turn that joker down some, but we don't want it burning. Turn that joker down. That ain't down enough. Put it on a smaller eye. So we don't want it burning. Alright, get some of those clumps out of there. Still a little bit thicker than I want it, so you know what I'm going to do? Add a little bit more. And then we're going to continue seasoning it. We're going to put our Italian seasoning. I'm going to actually skip out on the salt this time. For now, we'll add some pepper. Guess what? Still too thick. And then in lieu of adding salt, we're going to put some chicken bouillon. Now, this isn't the brand that I normally get, but this is all they had when I went and got it. So, and not too much of this because it's a little strong. And then if you don't have enough after you taste it, then you can always add some more. But not too much. That was kind of heavy. This is gravy. Still a little bit too thick. This is gravy. Okay, once you have it all mixed up and it's kind of the consistency that we want it to be, then I'm gonna taste it. And from my taste, I gather it needs some more chicken bouillon. It needs some more chicken bouillon. And some lemon pepper. Let's see how that tastes. Okay, it's good now, but I put a little bit too much chicken bouillon. But that's okay because once we put it on the meat is gonna suck up some of that excess flavor. All right, so now we're gonna add this gravy to the meat. So apparently I need some more pots. What I did was I put the rice in Tupperware now and put the meat in this pot that we have. And then we're just gonna pour all of this gravy into this pot with the meat. If there's any burnt gravy in here, then don't put that in the meat. Leave that in there. It's gonna mess up the flavor of the meat. When I say burnt, I'm talking about like these edges. Alright, then stir this all up, mix it up real good together, and see what we have. Once it's all mixed up, just like everything else, we're gonna taste it. And for my palate, it tastes fine. Only thing that I would add to it is some more pepper. So when you serve this, you're gonna serve this over the rice with the vegetable. You can add have mixed vegetables or broccoli or green beans or whatever vegetable you like. You can also serve this over mashed potatoes. But go ahead and put some on whatever you're serving it on, and then try it together to make sure that the combination, goes well. Okay, guys, I'm not even joking with you. It was so good. It reminds me of food that my mom used to make when I was younger, growing up. Food that my sister knows how to make really good, but I can never get it quite like hers. But there's your meal. Like I said, add some vegetables to it, and then go ahead and enjoy the meal. Share with your family, share with your friends. Here's the last thing. Made quite a mess here. So what we're gonna do is, just like this rice, put this mixture into a Tupperware container, and then you need to wash dishes, leave the kitchen just as clean as you found it, put all your seasonings and stuff up. No one should even be able to know or tell that you were, excuse me, my nose is running, it's not even spicy. No one should be able to even tell that you were in here cooking once you're done with this. I hope you enjoy. Stay tuned for the next thing that happens over here at AGI City. My channel is AGI Living. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.